Wake up, check your bank account, your Social Security payment is gone. No warning, no explanation, just silence. And when you call Social Security, they drop a bomb on you. Your benefits got cut because of a brand new rule you didn't even know existed. I'm not making this up. This is happening to real seniors right now. Today, as of this exact moment, a massive new Social Security rule just went live, and I'm not exaggerating when I say this could literally change your monthly income overnight. My name is George from Dream Visa Updates, and in the next few minutes, I'm going to break down exactly what happened, who's getting hit the hardest, and most importantly, what you need to do right now to protect yourself. If you're getting Social Security, planning to apply soon, or helping a parent with their benefits, what I'm about to explain could directly affect your paycheck starting today. So stick around. The Social Security Administration just flipped the script on how they manage benefits for millions of Americans. This isn't a proposal. This isn't coming someday. It's happening right now. The rule is officially active, and here's what makes it so serious. The SSA went from a system that was pretty relaxed, where they mostly waited for you to report changes, to a system that's aggressive, automated, and honestly, not very forgiving of mistakes. For decades, Social Security worked one way. You'd report a major life change, maybe you'd miss something, and usually it wasn't a big deal. Now, everything changed overnight. The burden of proving you deserve your benefits doesn't just happen when you first apply anymore. It's an ongoing requirement, every single year. And if you miss a deadline, they can pause your checks without warning. Here's the thing. The SSA says they're doing this to stop improper payments and save taxpayer money. And sure, that sounds reasonable on paper. But for everyday people counting on that monthly check to pay rent and buy groceries, this new system introduces real, serious risk. There are 3 massive changes you need to understand right now. First, mandatory annual verification. Starting today, if you're 62 or older and getting Social Security, you now have to prove once a year that you're still eligible. The SSA will send you a formal notice asking you to confirm your income, where you live, your marital status, sometimes even your assets. And here's the critical part. You've got 30 days to respond, not 60 days, not 90 days, 30 days. Miss that deadline, and they can suspend your benefits immediately. Think about that. You could be traveling, you could be in the hospital, you could just miss an email, and boom, your monthly income stops. The second change is even trickier, how they contact you. For decades, Social Security sent official notices by mail. You'd get a physical letter, you'd read it on your own time, no rush. That's basically gone now. The SSA switched to what they call an electronic first system. Most notices, including those annual verification requests I just mentioned, will now come by email or through your online Social Security account. On the surface, that sounds fine, but here's the problem. A ton of seniors don't check email regularly. Some haven't logged into their account in years, and a lot of older Americans just feel more comfortable with paper mail. But here's where it gets serious. The moment Social Security sends that email, the clock starts ticking. You're officially notified whether you actually saw it or not. You missed the message? Too bad. Full. Inbox? Doesn't matter. It went to spam. Not their problem. The 30-day countdown is on, and if you don't respond, your benefits get cut. The only people who automatically get paper mail instead are folks 75 and older, people who can prove they don't have internet, or people with disabilities that qualify for special accommodations. Everyone else, you're now expected to live in the digital world. Think about that for a second. An outdated email address, a full inbox, a message that gets flagged as spam. Any of those could mean you miss a critical notice and lose your monthly income. The third change is the big one, and honestly, it's the most powerful. The SSA just launched an expanded data matching system. In plain English, that means they're now constantly monitoring you in ways that were never possible before. They used to mostly wait for you to tell them if something changed. Now, they're actively checking. The SSA can now automatically pull information from the IRS, state tax agencies, unemployment offices, the VA, vital records, banks, credit agencies, basically anywhere that has data about you. All of that gets cross-checked against your Social Security file automatically. What does that mean? The government might know about changes in your life before you even report them. You get a new job, they see it, you sell a house, they know, you open a bank account, it shows up in their system, you get married, flagged, you move, they'll find out. And here's the catch. If anything in those databases doesn't perfectly match what Social Security thinks about your situation, they flag it. And when they flag it, the burden shifts to you to explain it. You might get a notice demanding proof. If they're not satisfied with your answer, they can cut your benefits, suspend them completely, or tell you that you were overpaid and need to give money back. In extreme cases, they might even refer you for fraud investigation. The SSA says this catches improper payments faster. And yeah, maybe it does, but for ordinary people, it creates a nightmare scenario. You could get a letter saying your benefits are being cut because a database somewhere shows income you never earned, or because some automated system misinterpreted a bank transaction. Fixing those kinds of errors, that can take weeks or months. Meanwhile, your monthly income is gone, so when you stack all three of these changes together, annual verification, electronic communication only, and aggressive data monitoring, you're looking at a completely different Social Security system than what existed just yesterday. Now, technically, this affects almost everyone getting Social Security. But the reality is, some groups are going to feel the pain way more than others. First group, seniors who are still working. If you claimed benefits before your full retirement age and you're still earning money, there's an income limit. Go over it, and part of your benefit gets withheld. That rule hasn't changed. But how fast they enforce it? Completely different. In the past, you wouldn't hear about an earnings problem until the next year when you filed taxes. They'd check your income, calculate the overpayment, and request repayment. You'd have time to adjust. Now, with real-time data matching, the SSA can see your earnings almost immediately. Your benefits could be reduced mid-year without warning. If you're living paycheck to paycheck on your salary plus Social Security, that sudden cut can be devastating. Second group at risk, widows and widowers on survivor benefits. A lot of people don't realize how sensitive these benefits are to marital status. If you remarry before a certain age, survivor benefits end. The SSA used to rely on beneficiaries reporting remarriages. Some people did it right away, some delayed, some didn't understand the requirement. Now with access to state marriage records, Social Security can find out about a remarriage almost instantly. If there's any gap between the actual marriage date and when it was reported, the SSA assumes you were improperly collecting during that time. That can mean massive overpayment demands, even if you genuinely thought you did everything right. Third group, and this is the most vulnerable, people on supplemental security income, or SSI. SSI is different from regular retirement benefits because it's based on financial need. There are strict income and asset limits. Small things matter, help from a family member, a few extra dollars in the bank, anything can affect your eligibility. Under the new data matching system, those changes get detected immediately. For low-income seniors depending on SSI to survive, a sudden benefit suspension because of an automated flag can create an immediate financial crisis. These three groups will probably get the most notices, the most questions, and the highest risk of interrupted payments. But honestly, nobody's completely untouched by this. Anyone with even a slightly complicated life situation needs to be more careful and more organized than ever before. Let me paint you a real picture of what's already happening out there. A 68-year-old woman checks her bank account this morning, expecting her Social Security deposit like always. Nothing. After hours on hold with SSA, she's told an electronic verification notice was sent to an old email address she barely uses. She never saw it, never responded. 30 days passed. Benefits automatically suspended. Now she's going through a reinstatement process that could take weeks, and her rent is still due. Or consider a 64-year-old guy who took early retirement but works a few hours a week for extra money. Under the old system, he kept careful records and expected any earnings issues to get sorted the next year. Instead, he gets a notice. Benefits stopped immediately because SSA data shows he earned more than allowed last quarter. The problem? The figure includes a one-time payment he doesn't think should count. Now he's fighting while his income disappears. Picture a 72-year-old widow who remarried last year. She called Social Security to report it and thought everything was handled. Today she gets a letter. She was overpaid thousands of dollars because the remarriage was never properly recorded. Even though she did what she was supposed to do, the burden is now on her to prove it. These aren't rare stories. These are exactly the kinds of situations that become common when a big government program shifts from human-centered to automated and data-driven. Computers don't understand context. They don't recognize honest mistakes. They just compare numbers and generate actions based on rules. When those actions involve cutting someone's only source of income, the consequences are very, very real. I'm telling you this not to scare you, but to make you understand how critical it is to pay attention now. A missed message, a misunderstood rule, a small reporting delay, any of that can snowball into a major financial problem. That's why knowing exactly what to do starting right now is essential. Here's what you need to do immediately to protect yourself under this new system. Step 1. Create or update your My Social Security account if you don't already have one. This is now the central hub for basically all communication with the SSA. Go to the official Social Security website and set it up today if you haven't already. If you already have an account but haven't logged in a long time, log in today. Check everything. Make sure it's accurate and current. The most critical detail, your email address. So many notices are now digital. The email you have on file must be one you actually use and check regularly. If it's old, rarely checked, or shared with someone else, update it immediately. Here's a pro tip. Create a dedicated email account just for Social Security and other important financial stuff. That way, nothing gets buried in a crowded inbox. Step 2. Review all your contact information, your mailing address, phone number, all your personal details. They all need to be correct in the system. If the SSA tries to reach you and the info they have is outdated, they won't assume it's their mistake. They'll assume you ignored them. Taking 5 minutes now to verify everything prevents major headaches later. Step 3. Start organizing documentation related to your benefits right now. Under this new annual verification process, you could be asked any time to prove your income, living situation, marital status, whatever. Start keeping copies of tax returns, pay stubs, pension statements, bank records, anything that affects your eligibility. Put it all in one safe place so you can respond fast if a notice arrives. Step 4. Check your My Social Security account regularly. Set a phone reminder or calendar alert to log in at least once a month and review any messages or alerts. Don't wait for the SSA to contact you. Being proactive is now one of the best defenses against surprises. Step 5. If you're still working while getting Social Security, keep detailed records of every single paycheck. Save every pay stub, every 1099, every bonus, every one-time payment. If the SSA's data shows income you think is wrong, these documents are your main defense. Step 6. Report any life change immediately. You move, tell them. You get married, tell them. You start a job, stop working, any change that could affect your benefits. Notify Social Security right away through your online account and save confirmation. Don't assume they'll figure it out on their own. They won't. And step 7. Stay alert. This system requires you to be more involved and more attentive than ever. The days of just getting a monthly check without thinking about it are basically over. These steps might feel annoying right now, but they're way easier than dealing with suspended payments or going through appeals later. You're taking control back, and that's what protects you. Look, this rule didn't happen without controversy. During the public comment period, tens of thousands of people and organizations said this was a bad idea. Senior advocacy groups said the SSA is putting an unfair burden on older Americans who might struggle with technology or have health issues that make fast responses impossible. AARP warned that forcing everything digital could leave seniors confused and at risk of missing critical notices. They pointed out that millions of retirees still prefer regular mail and don't feel comfortable with online accounts. Disability rights groups raised concerns about that rigid 30-day window. Real life happens. Hospital stays, caregiving responsibilities, cognitive issues. A computer deadline doesn't care about any of that. Privacy groups focused on the data matching system, arguing that giving the SSA access to banking info and credit reports without consent threatens privacy and opens the door to errors and breaches. Many people worried that automated systems would flag innocent transactions as suspicious, forcing seniors to prove their innocence in complicated bureaucratic processes. Critics also said this flips fairness on its head. It used to be the government had to prove you weren't eligible. Now you have to constantly prove that you are. That's a presumption of guilt whenever a computer algorithm gets confused. But the SSA defended the changes anyway. They say improper payments cost billions every year, and stronger verification is necessary for the program's long-term stability. They point out that people over 75 and those without internet access get exceptions. They say 30 days is reasonable to respond to an information request. Legal challenges were filed to block the rule, but federal courts let it move forward, saying the SSA has broad authority to set these procedures. From the government's angle, it's about efficiency and accuracy. From the perspective of many seniors, it feels like added pressure and uncertainty when stability matters most. Both sides have a point. Social Security absolutely needs to prevent fraud and overpayments. But the way you pursue those goals matters because it has real human consequences. Understanding this debate matters because it explains why the rule exists the way it does and why you now have to take such an active role protecting your own benefits. Here's the important part. Even though this rule is officially in place, you're not powerless. you still have legal rights and protections. If your benefits get reduced, suspended, or questioned because of the new verification or data matching process, you don't have to just accept it. You can fight back. Step 1. Request reconsideration. A different SSA employee, someone who wasn't involved in the original decision, will review your case and the information you provide. If that doesn't work, Step 2. Request a formal hearing before an administrative law judge. You can present documents, explain your situation, show evidence that the SSA was wrong. If the judge rules against you, there are still more levels. Review by the Social Security Appeals Council, and if necessary, taking it to federal court. These protections didn't disappear when the rule took effect. They're still there. You also have the right to be represented throughout this process. You can hire an attorney or a qualified non-attorney representative to help you gather records, build your case, and communicate with Social Security. For many seniors, professional help can make a huge difference, especially with complicated income questions or disputed data. Another key protection, you can request expedited processing. If you're facing serious financial hardship, if your benefits are suspended and you need that money for basic living expenses, you can ask the SSA to speed up their review or provide temporary payments while the dispute gets resolved. The key point, an automated notice or suspension isn't the final word. Mistakes happen. Databases have errors. Information gets misinterpreted. Problems might pop up faster now, but you still have the ability to correct them. The challenge is that you have to act fast, keep good records, and be persistent. That's why staying informed ahead of time matters so much. Knowing your rights lets you respond calmly and effectively if you get hit with an unexpected SSA decision. Zooming out for a second, this isn't just one isolated rule. It's part of a bigger shift in how government benefit programs work across federal agencies. Medicare, Medicaid, veterans benefits, all kinds of programs are adopting similar automation tools to detect fraud, verify eligibility, and cut improper payments. From an administrative standpoint, these systems sound great. Computers process information faster than people. Data matching catches problems that might slip through for years. But for the people depending on these programs, the experience feels completely different. Automation doesn't understand personal circumstances. It doesn't recognize that someone might be in the hospital caring for a spouse or struggling with memory issues. It just follows rules and generates actions. Under the old system, seniors interacted with Social Security, occasionally and often with actual human employees who could exercise judgment and understanding. Under the new system, you interact more frequently with online platforms, electronic notices, and rigid deadlines. For retirees who are organized, comfortable with technology, and have straightforward finances, this new system might work smoothly. They might barely notice a difference. But for seniors who are less tech-savvy, who have complicated income sources, or who deal with health and mobility challenges, the risks are much higher. A single missed email, an overlooked notice, a misunderstood form, any of that can now trigger serious consequences. That's why awareness is so critical. The goal of explaining all of this isn't to create panic, it's to encourage preparation. Social Security remains one of America's most important safety nets. These changes don't take that away. What they do is require beneficiaries to be more involved, more attentive, and more proactive than ever before. Understanding that reality is step one toward adapting to it. Moving forward into this new era of Social Security administration, staying informed and organized will be just as important as the benefits themselves. So here's what you absolutely need to remember. Starting today, Social Security operates under completely new rules. Benefits get verified every year. Important notices arrive mostly by email. The SSA monitors income and life changes through expanded data matching. For some seniors, these feel like simple updates. For many others, they represent a major shift in responsibility and risk. The most important thing, your Social Security benefits are still yours, but protecting them now requires more attention than ever. Check your online account regularly, keep your contact information updated. Respond quickly to verification requests. Report life changes immediately. Never ignore a notice just because it came by email. Staying organized and proactive is your best defense against interruptions. These new rules might feel overwhelming at first, but with the right habits and awareness, you can navigate them successfully. Stay informed, stay prepared, and most of all, stay in control of the benefits you worked a lifetime to earn.